Hey, good morning, guys. Yes, it is. It's Thursday, the 18th of June. Not going to be a very long video this morning. Kind of was up and down during the night quite a bit. But I thought we would just kind of quickly cover a lot of the stuff that we see in the shop. And I think it's not just my shop, it's your shop. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is the weekday, Monday to Friday. Today is Thursday, the 18th of June of 2026. So when I say my shop, your shop, and if you're even doing it part-time, you're going to get this. And that is kind of answering one of your guys' question of what do you do about the guy that says as he's dropping his lawnmower, he wants it by tomorrow? Who's running the shop? Is the question I got for you. And I had to learn this the hard way. I'm running the shop. And as much as I want my customers to be happy, we also have to train our customers correctly as well. And that is, simply put, it will be done when it gets done. I'm telling you right now. If you allow a customer to dictate how you run your shop, they will run your shop into the ground. They know nothing about small engine repair or being a mechanic because if they did, they do it themselves. But they're more than happy to give you advice on how to run your shop that they have no clue or even fathom what goes into it, right? All they know is that they drop it off and voila, you magically wave your wand and it's fixed and ready to go home that afternoon. Wrong. I made this mistake over and over and over again, and that was trying to be a people pleaser all the time. You can't please everybody all the time. You're only going to please some of the people all the time. And what I find is running the shop is a lot like raising kids. It is. And depending upon your parenting style, your kids are either going to turn out to be spoiled brats or well mannered kids. Simple as that. They're all born the same way. It's how we parent that dictates how they turn out. If you give in to everything that they want, and I've had to tell my daughter this and my granddaughter, if you're listening, hear it again, that you simply have to tell your child no. And the quicker you do that and the quicker you set things into place, the better things are going to be for all of you. And as I explained to her, you think you're doing right by your child. I know you love your child, but you don't need to constantly, there was one time that somehow the rabbit cage got left open and the rabbit disappeared. Okay. So what did my daughter and her fiance do? They went out and they bought her two little rabbits to replace the one rabbit. And I'm like, she does realize that the one big one does not turn into two little ones, right? And then she went to a kid's birthday party and there was a bounce house out there. And she cried and whined to mom and dad that she wanted a bounce house. So what they do? They went out and bought a bounce house. I thought when she sent me a picture that they had rented the bounce house for the day or the weekend, which I guess to each their own. But it was no, Dad. We bought it for her because she wanted it. Who the hell is running that house? And at this point, my granddaughter is. Shops are the same way. I'm not saying that you have to be a belligerent SOB and tell your customers off you know, but you have to learn how to say no. And when I say no, it's if they're giving you unrealistic expectations of what they have. Some point somewhere, somebody forgot to tell them no. I got told no a boatload of times when I was a kid. No, you can't have it. And if I started crying, then it would be one of those deals, knock it off or I'll give you something to cry about. Today, I guess that's called child abuse. I don't know. But I turned out okay. Well, mostly okay. But that's how I raised my kids was I wasn't afraid to say no. I wasn't. You know, there were times when we couldn't afford a lot. There were times when we had extra and we tried to do what we could. And I learned early on that the times that we did have money and we went all out, it was for naught. And I can remember one Christmas that I got a big bonus from a mining company I worked for. And I told my wife, I said, we really haven't ever had a good Christmas with these kids to get what they want. And we got just about everything they wanted on their list, okay? Christmas morning, we get up and they're tearing through all their presents, laughing and this and that. And then I go out to the kitchen, get myself a cup of coffee, sit down, and they are laughing loud and this and that, like I looked at my wife and I said, we did good. So I walked into the living room where the Christmas tree was and my coffee in my hand, and I looked, and all of the toys were tossed into the corner, and the kids had made forts out of these boxes that the toys had come into, these big boxes, and were having a blast using their own imagination. And if I'd have known that, I would have gone to the local grocery store and asked for their boxes and screw the presents. But that's what I'm getting at. Whose expectations are you trying to meet? Theirs or yours? I'm a realist in that I've had a lot of customers over the years say, I want it and I need it, and can you get it running this afternoon? And more than once, we knock it out, have it leave, and then find out that it wouldn't start when it's cold, and then have them come dragging it back, pissed at us because we didn't fix it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I learned from you, Jason, the cold starts. And you said a couple during the day. We go a whole day so that I know that it's cooled right down. And that way, if it doesn't start up, then we need to do something different, right? But you have to teach your customers how to treat you and how to treat your shop. And the quickest way is if they inner talk with Claude and ask him how long he thinks it'll take, he'll say, well, at least 3 to 4 days. And then he'll have it knocked out, ready to go in a half an hour. But he doesn't want them standing around watching, and he doesn't, because it's kind of like, well, if they're standing there, they're probably watching their watch to see how long it takes you to do whatever you need to do, and that's what their expectations are to pay you. And Claude could do something in 15 minutes. A lot of people would take an hour. Get in, get out, and resolve the problem. We had one yesterday that came in with a no start, nothing to the key. Wouldn't even turn it over. But we had good power at the battery. We had a good power at the solenoid, but it wasn't getting through the system. And come to find out that one of the ground wires had broken in the whip. So simply by bypassing and putting in a ground system, everything went to working again. It took him an hour to pinpoint the issue because he was chasing his tail. I almost bought a new starting switch until he came out and he said, I found the problem. What do you want me to do? So I went out, we talked about it, and I said, this is the way to do it. Is that thing needs to be grounded to the frame for everything else to operate. So he did that. And that customer is going to be thrilled because they were asking me if I had another used mower for sale or should they start looking. I said, give me till Friday before you start throwing money out the window towards another mower. Because he's got a nice Husqvarna now. But somewhere along the way, the ground in the whip, lost its ground. So instead of trying to find that ground wire where it's broke all the way through the whip, we just put in a new one. And end of story. But that customer knew that I had till Friday. I give him a longer time than what I thought that it would take to give them an answer on whether it's a yay or a nay. So when you have customers come in and they're asking when can they pick up their mower or when are you going to have it back, you just say as soon as possible, but I have no guarantees on anything because you don't even know what you're going to find when you start digging into it. It could be a turd that isn't even worth fixing, and you have to be able to say that to your customer as well. Not every job is worth taking on. And more than once, I've had to tell my customer, you don't want to put another dime into this POS. I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it. If you want me to put the money in to that machine, put the money down up front before I put it in because I can tell you right now, just the parts alone is going to be more than what that machine is worth running if I tried to sell it. Most of my customers will listen to me and say, "Okay, Eric, will you give me anything for it, or can I leave it on the hill? I'm gonna go get me a different one." But it took me a while to train my customers of how to deal with us. It did. If you're gonna come in blaring and loud, it's not gonna get you in and out any faster than it would be someone that's really quiet. It's not. Because it doesn't affect me. I'm just like, I don't need you for a customer. I would like to have you for a customer, but I don't need you. And if you're a pain in the, PETA, if you're a pain in the ass all the time, every time, then we're not going to deal with you. Go find another shop, and good chances are all the other shops don't want to see him either, and that's why they're finally to us. You know what I'm saying? So Claude, if somebody is in his face, Claude's right back in their face. And that gets a little respect too out of those guys. Claude says I'm too easy on people. No, I just treat people the way I wish and hope to be treated. End of story. So in the comments, are you training your customers or are they training you to not say no to them? On that note, you guys have a great Thursday. Sorry for a short video, but like I say, I was leg cramps, everything else last night. Happens every so often, but you guys have a great Thursday.